8th grade, scatter plots. All right, not overly difficult, but you'll see what it's about. Now, we want to work on graphing these points. You know how to do that? X then Y, so your x-axis, your y-axis. You can put the point at 520, at 2015, at 1040, at 3050. With that, that's going to help us with scatter plots today. It's like making a line graph, but your dots are not going to line up. So, problem of the day, good job. To create and interpret scatter plots. Correlation, line of best fit. A scatter plot is a graph with points plotted to show a relationship between two sets of data. All right, so two sets of data, we want to show how they are related to one another. A correlation describes the type of relationship between two data sets. All right, the speed at which I run is related to how long I've been running. I have the data on my phone, on my Fitbit that keeps it. Usually as I go longer, I get slower because I'm old and fat and get tired. All right? That is a correlation. Because I've been running for longer, my time or the speed at which I run is slower. There's a correlation there. A negative one. Positive correlation is maybe if you see that finish line and you start to speed up because you see the end coming, that would be the longer you run, the faster you run. All right, so with scatter plots, we have data on one line and data on the other. We have plots or points put out here. If we think about it, we could really kind of draw a line that would connect them all. This shows a positive correlation in a very strong way. It shows an increase of normal. This one, notice how they're spread out farther side to side? This shows an increase, but it doesn't happen at the same rate for everybody. So positive correlation, both data sets increase. So from left to right, we go up. We go up. Now, this one here in the middle, you'll see is a no correlation. The dots are scattered everywhere throughout. There's no way to say that they kind of all go up or they all go down. They're just everywhere. There's no correlation between the two. That'd be somebody that was very trained at running. Maybe they were able to if you had a large group and they were all training at running, if it's spread out like that, there'd be no correlation between the training they're doing. Now this one, the last one's over here, these two, negative correlations. Do you see how the dots go down? A wider band here shows a weaker correlation. That tighter band going down from left to right shows a stronger correlation. That is a negative. These are negative correlations. They go down left to right. Positive correlations go up left to right. No correlation, there's not an up or a down really. That's what we're looking for. So, use the data to make a scatter plot of the weight and height of each member of a basketball team. All right, we have all the heights. We have all the weights. So, we're going to plot them on a chart. All right, we plot the weights, and then you can see, hopefully as I can see, oh, when I look at this, they kind of go up, don't they? All right, I would say that there is a good correlation between height and weight. The taller you are, the heavier you are. That makes sense. So there is a positive correlation. There is a positive correlation. Do you see how, 68 to 160. 71 all the way to 170. All right? Those, we're just putting points on a graph. You've done that many times before. Make sure you pick height and go with it on the bottom all the time and weight up the side. If you had flip-flopped these, you would still have that same correlation. So it is not important which one is on the x-axis and which is on the y, but make sure you stay with that same one. Weight is always here, height is always here, or vice versa. Height is all here, weight is all here. As long as you're consistent, the correlation will come out just fine. All right, now we have height and weight. They like to keep height on the bottom and weight on the side. It may be a good thing to follow. This is the data for a weight and height of each member on a soccer team and describes the correlation. So we plot these points. You can notice the heights are less. Soccer, you don't need as much height. All right. So they've plotted all the points there. I can see a correlation as this goes here. We have a general going up. We do have one that kind of is an outlier that's there. That's maybe not important. But there is a positive correlation, as you can see, because they generally go up. Okay? Now, make a scatter plot of the data and draw a line of best fit. Those are the blue lines I've been drawing. Then use the data to predict how much a worker will earn in tips in 10 hours. So in 4 hours, the worker earns 12, 8, 20, in 3 hours, 7, in 2 hours, 7, in 11 hours, 26. All right? So our goal is try to predict how many they'll make if they work for 10 hours. So we're going to take all these and we're going to turn them into hours to tips. So we're going to make a XY, or, excuse me, an X and a Y. So we have our hours on bottom, and we have our tips on top. For 2 hours, you make $8. All right? For 3 hours, or $7. For 4 hours, they jumped up to 12. 8 hours, they made 20. 11 hours, they made 26. All right? So we look at all those. If we were to work for 10 hours and we kind of find this line of best fit or follow it, we would kind of assume or hope it would be right there, and we'd make around $24. That's our hope. You can see the positive correlation. The longer you work, the more tips you make in general. All right, so we find the X and Y values, and that helps us make that prediction. They use these many times in marketing and other schemes so they can predict how many of things to make. All right, so hours worked and circuit board assemblies. So if they work for 4 hours, they can make 2, 8 hours, 7, 6 hours, 5, 9 hours to 8, 11 hours, 12. So we're going to plot those on there. These being your X, these being your Y points, that unit. All right. So we look, we plot those on there. We can see, in general, the longer you work, the more you can make. And if we were to work for 10 hours, is what they asked, it looks like you're going to be able to make around 10 circuit boards, a board per hour. That's not the case for everyone up there, but that would be a best estimate. Okay? That gives you an idea. Remember, you're going to make like you're making a line graph, and then you're going to plot the points, put that line of best fit on there, and then you can go to work. We see these. That one worked out real nice. And there is a positive correlation. Note, they've showed a lot of positive correlations. All right? With these, you can see there's a negative correlation going here and a negative correlation going here. All right? So all these things, positive, go from left to right and go up. Negative, go from left to right and go down. All right? Sorry there were not any negative examples. I will try to correct that for next year. Also, please note, we are going to have a Google Meet tomorrow from 1 to 4. You have an invite via the document shared with you on Friday's work. All right? Feel free to hang out with us, but you do not have to. It is optional. Good time to ask questions and get answers, though.